Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to create HTML links to other pages. We're going to do it in slightly reverse order here. We're going to create the links first before we create the pages. You'll see why in a minute. So when you look at HTML, anytime you see this href, so what I've just highlighted, that is a link. It's called an anchor tag. So A is an anchor tag. An anchor is effectively a link. An href is saying, fine, this is a link. This is what I want the link. This is where I want this link to go. When you click it, the href is the page I want this link to open. And of course, home is what is displayed. So let's run this page and see. What you see here, this link is home. This is the code for that link. As you can see, the only thing you see is home, and you can see that when you highlight it, when you go a mouse over it, it becomes like a finger. It's to say you can click me, I'm a link. Nothing else is shown other than the home and the fact that it's a link. But when you click that link, currently it's taking you to index.html, which is our home page. Yeah. Now let's go to the second one, my family. My family doesn't take you anywhere. In fact, let's just open this. Let's just open this in another tab. If I open it in another tab, you see that my family, if you look down here, when I highlight, you notice that down here, the link will appear. Down here, it doesn't take you anywhere. Click on it. It stays on the same page because we haven't put a link to it yet. But let's go and change the href. Let's go and say, instead of saying hash, we say my family.html. So that link will take us to a page called my family.html. Let's run it. Let's go back here and just refresh to make sure it's the new thing. Click on it. You see that it takes you now to my family. At the bottom here, it says my family.html. Let's click on it and see what happens. There's no page called my family.html because it doesn't exist yet, right? And that's why we get that error, but we've got to create it. But before we do, let's do all the other links. So we know this is my family.html. Let's call the next one my school.html. And then the next one is my favorites.html. So now I have linked to 3 pages, but those pages don't exist yet. So you click on them, it will give you an error. Let's just go back, refresh. My school.html, it doesn't exist. My favorites.html, again, doesn't exist. So there's a problem. Let's fix that problem. Now, because I want all my pages to have the same link color, to have the same background, I will create new pages, but I want the same style to exist. So I'm going to keep the code on index.html. So instead of creating new pages, I'm going to simply duplicate, copy index.html. So how do you do this? You click on the 3 dots here and say duplicate. So I've created a new page called index copy. I don't want to call it index copy. I'm going to call it my family.html. Okay. If you click on it, you see that it has the same code. So I'll just simply go here. Instead of making that home, I'm going to call that my family. Okay. We'll go back to index.html, do the same thing, duplicate again. This time I'm going to call it my school. Notice there's no space. My school.html. Again, I'll do the same thing. When I go to my school, instead of home, I'm going to call it my school. And then finally, I'm going to do the same thing again. Index, I will duplicate and I will call it my favorites.html. Again, go back to my favorites. and call it my favorites. So now I've created 3 additional pages. So altogether we've got 4 pages. Let's just run this website and see whether it works. So go back, let's just open that in the tab, and look, home will take us home. My family takes us to my family. School will take us to school, as you can see. Favorites will take us to favorites. Now, but we can't tell on the page what page we're on. So we're going to make a few changes. Let's just go back. First of all, my family, where it says Tommy Itu, I'm going to put my family in that heading, in that header tag. And if I go to my favorites, I'll do the same thing. My favorites. My school, we'll do the same thing. My school. And maybe at home, I'll just go Tommy Itu and I'll call it home so that you can see the difference in those pages. Now let's run. Again, let's just come here and refresh. So you can see home is home, my family is my family, my school is my school, my favorites is my favorites. So now you have 4 pages that have linked to each other. Now your job in this lesson is to open my family and make changes to this. Talk about your family. So how do you do this? You go to my family, and wherever you see this content, simply make changes and talk about your family. Talk about, your pets, your whatever you want your user to know. So let me just change this quickly. In a paragraph, I'll say I have 3 siblings. Have I spelled siblings right? No, I think it's 1B. Siblings, a sister, and 2 brothers. Yep. I am the 3rd child. So that's an example of what your family should look like. Let's go and refresh my family and see whether that's changed. As you can see, it's changed now. You can put more information there so that your website then becomes about you. Okay? Thank you for watching. Do as you see.